My name is Peter Kukielski, and I'm the curator of the Peggy Rockefeller Rose Garden here at the New York Botanical Garden. And we're going to be looking at pruning hybrid tea roses. We're standing next to this big, beautiful bed of brigadoon. Brigadoon is a beautiful hybrid tea, very fragrant. This is the upper branch structure, everything that went on this past year. And it's just really good to think about and look at that structure, because that's exactly what we want the rose to do again this year. So if I can use the term that, again, this is complicated and we want to simplify it down, and we want to simplify it with thinking about the interior architecture. So I'm essentially going to initially just look at this and just start making some cuts to simplify this entire thing down. So I'm just going to remove the upper branches just so it's easier to work and get into there. Got a branch way over here. So we've essentially removed this bush down to 12, 14 inches. At this point, we want to look at the structure, look at the architecture. We want nice, strong canes to support the upper growth that we want to come. In this particular bush here, we also have some swelling eye buds. That's going to give us a clear indication of some better cuts to make. Let's just take a look right in here. First of all, we have a lot of branching that went on last year. Essentially, none of these branches are going to support new, strong growth. So we just want to reduce the complication. We have some nice white wood where that's good. Seems like a pretty severe cut, but you got to realize that this is just absolutely going to give us another branch that size. This is an interior facing branch. Do you see how it kind of comes into the inside of the bush, as opposed to this one grows outside? So let's remove this one. On this particular one, we see some buds that are already swelling. Do you see how this bud is facing outside? That's exactly what we want it to do. This bud is going to grow this way. That's exactly what we want it to do. Here's an interior bud. So that's going to grow pretty much this way. We're just going to snip that off and just encourage the growth to go in these two buds. As we continue to look at this branch, do you see that there's a little hole right there? Spring pruning oftentimes reveals some insect damage that we had over the past year, and this hole indicates what's called a cane borer. And cane borers are attracted to this nice white wood, and they like to eat it and actually eat their way down the cane and lay their eggs. So when we see this hole, we know that this entire cane has been infested by the cane borers. So we need to remove that. So we're just going to cut down the cane till there's no longer a hole. This wood is kind of dark and brown, so we're going to continue to cut until we no longer see that. I would say keep cutting every couple of inches or so till you see some nice white wood that seems nice and healthy. Looking at this branch, we have some nice swelling eye buds, so there's a lot to consider here. This bud here is facing this way. You can kind of tell that as this grows, it'll come out this way. This bud that way, and the one behind it is going to grow out this way. So I'm just going to make this cut right above this particular bud eye, so we're going to encourage that growth. Over here we have some branches that have kind of crossed, and we're just going to simplify it down. We have a exterior facing bud here, so we want to encourage that to grow. Again, look at the nice white wood that we're getting, so that's a good indication of a healthy cane. If you look at all of the canes we've cut, they've been really good in size. I would say maybe a default would be make sure it's at least pencil size, because the pencil size cane will help support the new flowers. Many of these are even bigger, so we're very lucky with this plant. Anything less than that, we're just going to remove from this plant. So in here, just removing that. We have some dead wood in here. Just going to make these cuts. Remove any dead wood. And right now we have nice branching that goes to the exterior. The spring pruning is also a time to remove any leaves that are around the base that might have overwintering disease or fungus, and just get that out of your garden. And what you're left with is this nice, beautiful architecture of the plant with consideration of outward facing bud eyes. And then in a couple of weeks, we'll come back and revisit it and see how the plant's growing.